Cuisine. Hidden Treasure serves dinner Wednesday to Monday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Located in the Escalante neighborhood 1.5 miles south of San Pedro town. Hidden Treasure offer a romantic and elegant dining experience. Make early reservations and ask for free shuttle service. Some restrictions apply. Hidden Treasure Restaurant and Lounge, the perfect place to celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, rehearsal dinners, and much more. Come, experience fine dining in an enchanting atmosphere. Live music every Thursday by a renowned Malaysian singer and keyboard player. Hidden Treasure Restaurant and Lounge. Telephone 226-4111 or 4236. Visit them at www.hiddentreasurebelize.com or on the socials. Hidden Treasure Restaurant and Lounge, San Pedro, Belize.
Welcome to Zyva Beauty, Style and Beauty, all in one place. Your one-stop shop for all things fabulous. Discover a stunning collection of makeup palettes, trendy accessories, sunglasses, adorable purses for adults and kids, mommy and daughter dresses, luscious lip glosses, glamorous eyelashes, and so much more. Hey gorgeous, walk in or book your appointment today and let us help you unleash your inner beauty. We offer expert beauty services such as powder brows, lash lifts, lash extensions, lip micropigmentation, and rejuvenating facials. Find us on Pescador Drive next to Caramba Restaurant. Call 605-9256 or message us on Facebook. Zyva Beauty.
Pampered Paws, your pet experts. Calm, confident canines. We offer daycare and boarding services with playtime and multiple beach park walks designed to have your dogs socialize and fulfilled. Pickups and drop-offs available. Grooming. Complete grooming services include bath, trim, nail, and ear cleaning. Results that will take your breath away. We also do house calls. Beach Power Walks, a 2-mile structured park walk designed to mentally and physically stimulate your companion. Don't forget our hands-on professional dog training services to make your dog a better behaved pet. Check out our full line of pet supplies. Pampered Paws, your pet experts. Calm, confident canines.
Get between Belize City, Keycocker, and San Pedro on a ferry faster than anyone else with Caribbean Sprinter. You better Belize it. Get with us online at sprinter.bz.
The hurricane season is here. Are you prepared? Get the essentials you need to stay safe this hurricane season, such as plywood, tarp, and rope, first aid kit, rubber boots, raincoats and rain ponchos, generator, portable radio and batteries, flashlight and kerosene lanterns. Weather the storm with these products and more from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Welcome back to another episode of Are You Ready? Hurricane Preparedness 2025. I am Vanessa Parham. Today with me, I have Mr. Egbert Castillo, Officer in Command for the San Pedro Police Department. OC Cass, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
And thank you to OC Cass for sharing this couch with me today, talking about hurricane preparedness. And and what all it entails for the San Pedro Police Department. OC Cass, can you tell me what all is your preparation phase when it comes to your administrative duties for the San Pedro Police Department? This is pre-hurricane season. This is way before hurricane. So can you talk to us today and to our residents and tell them what the preparation is like for the San Pedro Police Department?
Okay, sure. First of all, thanks again for being here. To enlighten you and the viewers on our role and function as police officers in relation to hurricane. Even prior to the hurricane season, as the commander, I have an administration team headed by 2 deputies, Mr. Serrano and Mr. Lemos, and we would come together and sit down and make a plan for our officers and what is expected on the island. We would sit down. That would take some time. It is not something that we do overnight. And that plan that we prepare, we have to send it to the police headquarters in Belmopan. The operations team, the commissioner will look at it and give it a okay. They would agree that what we have in place is up to requirement. After we get the approval that yes, this plan is good, we just don't make the plan and keep it in a cupboard. We have to then enlighten our subordinates, our officers who work with us. As you know, people come and go on the island, so it is not one set of police here for 10 years.
That's so true.
Every year people come and go. So after the preparing of the plan, we will then call a general meeting with all the officers who are posted here. We average roughly around 100 officers, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And we will call a meeting with all officers, every single officer who work on this island, and we would go over that plan with them, telling them what we expect from them and their role and function during the hurricane, before the hurricane and after the hurricane. What is our role and function as police? To enlighten you on some of the key pointers, things we discuss that people may not know, that during the hurricane, as a police officer, when we get that warning from the NEMO office, no police officer could leave this island. So even prior to the hurricane season, we urge all officers to make their own hurricane plan for their family. At our general meeting, we would tell them, basically, we will work during the hurricane, just up to the point where a hurricane should hit. We will be patrolling to keep the island safe. They will know which area they will be responsible for. Some officers will be on the ground patrolling. Some will work at the NEMO headquarters. Some will be at the various shelters as directed by the NEMO office. We have to police these areas. And because people will be leaving the island, we have strategic key point that we must man to keep people property safe while they are away. Before that, as the administration also, we would need to make sure that all our vehicular resources are up and running. So we do a thorough service of all our vehicular assets and all the equipments that we may need, like, for example, getting generators, getting fuel. We need to get food for our officers because we can't leave. So we have to source food from various businesses. We keep them in a safe place at the station. We get the female officers to cook during hurricane. So each officer know their role and function. The stores will be closed, but we have to stay sometime 3 days at the station. So we get female officers, they know their role, who will deliver food, who will... So each officer know their role and function. That's basically what we would discuss with the officers, so that they have a mindset to know that come this hurricane, this is what is expected of me.
Thanks, OC Cass. And let's talk about that mindset that you said, because honestly, it's a scary ordeal, OC, when you're on this island during a hurricane. We do not know the severity of the impact of that hurricane. You know, we are vulnerable because we're surrounded by water, sea to the east and the lagoon at the west. We have limited shelters on this island and limited capacity to those shelters as well. So, OC, what would be your message that you'd send to the public from the standpoint or the viewpoint of the San Pedro Police Department when we're still in that preparation phase and we know that there's an incoming system? What would be the message that you'd like to send to the residents?
The general sentiments of the department, police on the island, is to ask people to evacuate. Leaving the island, you and your family will be much safer on the mainland. Don't think about your assets that you have left behind.
So true.
If you are safe on the mainland, you could come back, and if there's loss to this property, you could get it back.
That is
but
so
if
true.
there's a loss to your life, then you're gone. Your property, I will assure you, to the best of our ability, we will police this island to keep your property safe. We will be on the grounds before, and in most cases, depending on the severity of the hurricane, during the hurricane sometimes, if it is a very mild one, and we will certainly be there after to do our job. If your property is lost, we as police, we have a role and function to investigate and recover these things, and we will get that done. But our main message is to evacuate if you are required to do so.
OC, let's talk about a very important topic here, because you know the sentiments of people, and it is human nature that people tend to give a lot of value to their assets and their property, like you said, and the first thing they think about, if I leave, somebody will break into my home, they will steal, you know, my valuables, and the message that we're trying to spread, or we're trying to get across to our residents, is do not stay on this island because we are so vulnerable. If it's a Cat 2 and above, kindly evacuate the island. We have two types of evacuation, right? You'll see we have voluntary evacuation, and then we have the NEMO official coordinated evacuation. But to just, OC, for those residents who are so concerned about leaving their property and their assets behind, you know, can you kindly reiterate that message to them again and tell them what it is from the responsibilities and the roles of the San Pedro Department and the roles that your officer played?
I personally, and as a department, the message I will emphasize, and I can't do it enough, is to evacuate. When you evacuate the island, you personally are at a greater advantage. You will be safer on the mainland. Come a hurricane, we can't put people on bus like the mainland and send them to higher ground.
So true.
This is low-lying area. It is an island, like you mentioned. We're surrounded by waters. But the more people leave the island, it is better for us. It is less people to police. It is less people to protect. It is less people to secure. We could then give more time to patrolling rather than saving life. Because to save, if someone is stranded somewhere, it is the main function of the Coast Guard or the police to go. We take resources to go and try to assist people when we could put that same resources in patrolling an entire neighborhood and keeping an entire neighborhood safe.
So true.
We patrol in blocks and sections, so certain police would be posted in a certain area, and you cover that area. But if someone should be stranded somewhere, we don't have extra police to come. We have to move police to go and do that. So the more people leave, it is better for all. Leaving the island, like you mentioned, there's the call for evacuation. As the police department, again, one of our main mandate is to police the ports of entry, to keep law and order. We know people may be in panic and things could get chaotic. So we put as much manpower as we could at these ports of entry, the boats and the airship, to make sure that the evacuation process is safe.
OC, let us talk about a very important topic too. This is during the hurricane now. When the system is upon us, we're expecting near landfall. and that official time is given to your officers and given from the NEMO EOC for official cutoff time too, because we all know that there's gonna be some residents that's gonna take that chance, OC, and like you said, the 11th hour they're gonna be calling us and asking us to go and save them. And what we don't want to do is put our first responders, whether that's our police officers or emergency responders or police coast guards, lives at risk. OC, can you speak to our residents of what entails when we give the official cutoff time in the EOC?
During the hurricane, we work closely with several agents, but the lead agents is the NEMO. When we get that call that the hurricane is here, it is on us, that's when we will call in all our officers. Who are at the shelter will remain there, the patrol teams will come in. During that time, there are instances when police go outside their scope of duties and would still go because it is in us to save life and property. That is one of our 4 primary functions. But it is risking their own life to go and save others. Police do it. It is not something that we could make mandatory then for a police officer to go during a hurricane to save people. So at that cutoff hour, you should be somewhere safe, or you should be on the mainland at that time until we get directives from NEMO that we could go back out. That period is when we go back out. During that period, we should not actually go to risk our life to save others.
Well said, OC. And is there any final message that you would want to share with us and to share with our residents from the San Pedro Police Department as the officer in command?
As the officer in command, I urge each and every head of the household to take the time now to prepare a hurricane plan for yourself and your family.
Well said.
Know who is responsible for what, who will be responsible for securing the safe documents, who will grab the child, who will secure the pet, who will take us to the dock, how we will reach Belize City. If we go by plane, if we go by boat, make that arrangement now. You can't do it and execute it when the hurricane is on us. Very key is for people to secure not only food items, but things like water, battery.
So true.
A battery-operated radio to keep abreast with the current situation and pay keen attention to the weather forecast from the Belize Meteorological Service and not so much the external agencies, because things may be different, but we go officially with our Belize Meteorological Service. That basically would be something from myself and the department to keep people safe.
OC, let's talk about one last topic. Hurricane party. You know, our residents, they love to go and stock up on the alcohol and, throw hurricane party. And this is something that we discourage, right? And there's also a cutoff time for the shops, because we have to be conscious of our residents, and we have to allow people to go to these shops to buy their food, like you said, to stock up on their food, to buy batteries, and make their last minute preparations too. But this is also the time when people take advantage of buying rum, beer, and as we've seen, it's also the time that spikes domestic violence cases as well.
Of course.
So can you speak a little about that, OC?
It is a malpractice that we strongly discourage. First of all, it is not safe. It is not the time for anyone to be thinking about consuming alcohol or throwing a party. We know the consumption of alcohol would impair your vision. You may feel like you're in a position to do certain things when in fact you're not. So we strongly urge shop owners to discourage the sale of alcohol even before we are asking them to do that during hurricane. From we get the warning of a threat of hurricane, we discourage the sale of alcohol. We discourage people to participate in that so-called hurricane party. It is not safe. It is not a bright idea.
Thank you, OC. And let us talk about cases with domestic violence cases that we've seen during when there's an impending disaster, like you said. There is a surge of domestic violence cases leading to this overconsumption of alcohol or buying alcohol. It's something that we have to deal with too in the EOC.
Of course, and again, it takes a lot of our resources to deal with these matters.
Yes.
Because we police before and during the hurricane, and if we get a call of a domestic, we have to respond.
Yes.
We can't allow that to continue. A man abusing a woman, or even in some cases, a man abusing man, because the man, instead of buying provisions for the home, he would go to a store and buy alcohol and drink, and then there's no basic necessities home. When they go, things get heated. We have to go and police that.
And then there's children involved in that.
Of course, the child is at home looking at this. It is not. There is nothing positive from such an event. We want cooler heads to prevail. Put your plan in place. Keep away from the hurricane party, the consumption of alcohol, and think about your safety at all times.
Thank you, OC Cass. As now we go to a break, and when we return, we have Inspector Serrano speaking with us as well from the police department.
Thank you.
Welcome to Caribbean Sprinter. We're honored to be your water transportation choice in Belize. Caribbean Sprinter is the fastest, most reliable water transport in the country. Our ferries are equipped with everything you'll need for your island hopping adventures, local transport, and vacation needs. We're proud to have the most advanced ticketing and reservation system in the country. We offer multiple sailings daily between Belize City, Key Cocker, and San Pedro. Our checked luggage tracking system allows you to rest at ease and enjoy the beautiful views during your journey. We take pride in maintaining and servicing our vessels to make sure we're always on time and ready for your next trip. Once again, thank you for choosing Caribbean Sprinter and welcome aboard. We look forward to your next voyage with us.
Welcome back to Are You Ready? Hurricane Preparedness 2025. Today with me I have Deputy Officer Commanding Inspector Darwin Serrano from the San Pedro Police Department and also from the San Pedro EOC. Inspector Serrano, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Van.
Inspector, tell us a little bit about your roles and responsibility from the San Pedro Police Department.
Well, I have been here now for 2 years. My role initially was for administration and operations for the formation. And I've recently been joined by another deputy who has taken over administration fully. And also, I am now tasked with the responsibility of operations. So, there's it's been ongoing for the past 2 years where operation is key and we need to ensure that our officers are on point with the criminals, try to minimize crime, and ensure that the island is safe.
Well said. And you know the police department, you guys play a very vital role in the San Pedro EOC. Tell us what that is like for your officers during the hurricane.
I think that the officers are notified whenever there's a natural disaster, way before time. And so we get our information from our headquarters, and likewise we tune in with the EOC informations likewise. And so once we get these information, we have our general meetings and we inform the officers of what we expect of them. And thereafter, we ensure, like what the officer previously said, that you take care of your families. We have 7 days before the storm arrives, take care of your families, you go home, and immediately after, people start to know where they'll be working, and we start to put the teams together, because we won't be working 24 hours shift one team, we shift it up and so on. So, and again, we move based on our headquarters and with directive from the EOC here in San Pedro.
So, Inspector, tell us what it is like for the mindset of your officers, and especially when they're carrying out their duties in safeguarding life and property during the hurricane.
The officers know that once we are at that point where the storm is here, protection of life and property is paramount. And they know that once that red flag is up, it's until the very end. Sometimes even if the green flag is up and the all clear has been given, depending on the magnitude of the storm, they won't leave, especially if the storm passes over us. We have to stay here and do recovery. We have to stay here and ensure that everything goes back to normal. And so this is the reason why we prepare them mentally way before, so that they could do the necessary planning and preparation with their families. And sometimes even the cell phone is down. So mentally, they're prepared. And, you know, some of them, again, they, like everybody else, they feel as if though it's not going to happen until it happens. But for the most part, I think we've been blessed, but we always have to treat every situation as if though it's a serious one.
So true, Inspector. And you are one of the main officers in the San Pedro EOC when we're activated. You are there continuously, along with OC Castillo. I know we have Inspector Lemos that is now joining us on board. And what it is like to sit in the San Pedro EOC when we're fully activated for the hurricane, and what is the communication like with you and your officers that are out on the streets patrolling?
I think working with the EOC it's my first time being engaged for the past 2 years. It has been my first time working with the EOC. It's very informative, and it alerts us to what's coming. I think we actually know if certain things is going to happen. And so once we get that information, we disseminate it. And sometimes, you know, I think the officers work with us very well, you know, and we comfort them. We provide that sense of comfort, you know, and so we get positive feedbacks from them. Yeah, so we pretty much work closely with them and ensure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, but at the same time, you know, preparing for the worst, hoping for the best.
Okay. Inspector, now I'd like to ask a lingering question that is just to educate our residents and the public. What do you do with prisoners when there's an incoming storm that you know is approaching the island and it's going to be a threat to us? Can you educate our residents and tell them what happens to the prisoners in the San Pedro Police Station?
When it comes to prisoners, we try to give people bail for minor infractions, or for the more major offenses, We tried to get them on the mainland and see if we could transport them to the central prison until the storm passes. But once we try as much as possible to keep the cell blocks free of prisoners, but it doesn't mean that anybody could go out there and do whatever they feel like.
You don't have a green card or a pass to go out there.
No. Yeah, even if the cell block is empty, as long as you commit yourself, you will be dealt with in accordance to the law.
So it's safe to say, Inspector, that a hurricane doesn't hinder justice, right?
It does not.
Okay. So, Inspector, what is it like when it comes to post-hurricane, after the hurricane?
For the most part, I have to say that we've been blessed as a country. I think the last 2 calls were close, and people tend to take it a little bit light. But should it, I'm hoping that it doesn't happen, but should the storm hit after the hurricane, you're looking at recovery. You don't know. Once during the period when NEMA was giving the, guys, you need to leave, the evacuation time frame, once that is given, the storm passes, we don't know who are left. So we need to go into these homes and see what's happening there and to see if anybody is actually in the home. Sometimes the roof goes. I've been in a situation where the storm passed through Belmopan. I was there, and then we go and we find a roof on the street. Families were in the home still.
Wow.
And babies were in there. You hear the babies crying, and we had to go out there in the storm and take these people out and take them to shelter because they refused to move. And so I know the dangers of the after hurricane effect. Sometimes you might find dead bodies because people choose that they want to stay and mind their properties. So it's dangerous, especially if the storm should pass over us. So when NEMO gives that official time frame for you to evacuate, I think it's best that you do it, because we will be left with the dirty work thereafter to go and recover either what's living or what's dead.
That is true, Inspector. So since you're on that topic, a part of your role and responsibility is the Search and Rescue Committee in NEMO as well. Mm-hmm. And like you rightfully said, that can either be a rescue or a recovery effort. And can you talk to us, as you said, mention your experience in Belmopan, but especially your message to the residents on this island, knowing that we're so vulnerable, knowing that especially low-lying areas, this entire island is low-lying, right? We are prone to storm surges, we're prone to tidal floodings. Like you said, the storm yet has to come over us. And what would be the key message you'd want to send to those people who would choose to stay and not seek safety or in a shelter, or choose to evacuate voluntarily? What would be your message to those who wants to call in the 11th hour, putting our officers' lives at risk if they ever do venture out to go and do a rescue mission?
I've been around San Pedro, and a lot of houses are just not can stand up. And that's the long and short of it. People do what they need to do to get that comfort, but it doesn't make the home safe from a storm. Right? And this is straight talking. It's not safe, but people still want to stay in there. My thing to you is get to safety. The officer mentioned earlier that we could replace that, but we can't replace your life.
Well said.
Right? So you go to the mainland, get to safety. We will patrol these areas and ensure that if we see anybody, they linger around, we know, because we give a curfew before the time, and if we see anybody out, we take them in. We find a room for them. and you know what? Get out of these homes and get to the mainland and get to safety. Your life is of most importance.
Inspector, that's a very good point you brought across. Let us talk about the curfew time, because yes, it is true, when NEMO issues these advisories, these official advisories, I should say, that should be the only advisory that our residents and the broader public listens to. What happens during the patrol when we're activated and we're expecting this system to come and you guys have to patrol, and there's often a curfew set to as well when there's a cutoff time to be given? What happens to the people that you find on the street that are just out there being idle?
We have the first approach in terms of discouraging them from hanging out, get to safety, go in your homes. And if we come back and we see them, we detain them. And so immediately the message gets across that the police officers are, they're not playing, they're getting it done. The storm is just a couple hours away or minutes away. Sometimes an hour, 2 hours before the storm reaches, people are outside in the rain playing around. We discourage them or we detain them.
I see. And Inspector, we know that San Pedro is a very, very big island, right? People tend to think San Pedro is small. It is not. What is your message to those residents living all the way up north, where your substation is to as well?
Some of the homes up there are, I believe they can withstand probably a Cat 1 or Cat 2. But if the residents know that it cannot withstand these storms or a Cat 2 storm, then they need to evacuate and then they need to go to safety. And even our officers from up north, they come at the station here with us. And so it will be difficult to get to them other than boat, but during the storm, I don't think we will go all the way in that direction in the north, because it will be impossible to pass because the water would cover the main roads, and we won't go on our boats because the storm would be here and the water would be rough. So we won't risk it until after the storm has passed. So we urge everybody to come out and go to safety.
Thank you, Inspector. That is very important for our northern residents to take note of, that our police officers that are posted at the substation up north, they too have to come in and secure themselves, right, Inspector?
And their equipments
as well. So take heed to that, to know that once we're fully activated, we're expecting the hurricane to make a landfall, you will have limited help from the police officers reaching all the way up north, and that is not only for local residents, that's also for expatriate community and everybody that lives up there. And so now, Inspector, let's talk to us about when that green flag is flown, the all clear is given. We have residents who want to rush out, they want to be the first to see what the damage is. What is your message when it comes to the safety of residents post-hurricane?
I think that residents are advised to deal with their own stuff. This is not the time for you to go and see what happened to somebody else's business. You deal with your own business. And officers will be around to see, based on information received, maybe somebody's in this house. And so we'll be around and to assist the situation, but for the most part, we don't want anyone going all over the place unless they're assisting NEMA or assisting the police with a search and rescue. So if this is your property and it's damaged, you try to see what you can do to restore things at your property, not to go and see what's happening on somebody else's property. We'd urge people, though, if everything is okay with your property, come and see somebody at NEMA and see what you can do to assist.
So create a communication awareness within your own community that you live in, and try. So when it comes to immediate safety, communication and assistance, recovery documentation, these are all a part of your responsibility within the San Pedro EOC.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. Inspector, is there any last message that you would like to impart to our viewers today?
I have to say that, again, that for the last two storms that eyewitness out here. It was, Nemo gave all the information, and in the end, I heard people saying, oh, Nemo that this, Nemo that. But the information is there for you, for your consumption. If Nemo says evacuate, I think it's best that we treat every situation as if though it's a serious one and follow the directive. Because you never know when it's going to happen for real. But I have to say that we are blessed as a country, and we are blessed for the past 2 storms that passed that it didn't hit. And we have to thank God for that. However, when the directive is given, my people, let's move with it. I myself would want to move, but I have to stay here and do my job.
Thank you, Inspector Serrano, for joining us today on the couch talking about hurricane preparedness. And I know you will agree with me, Inspector, when I say we all have a role to play in emergency management.
Yes,
we all have a duty to ourselves, to our family, and to our community, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Inspector, for joining us from the San Pedro Police Department. And we'll see you on the next episode of Are You Ready? Hurricane Preparedness 2025. I am Vanessa Parham.
Get between Belize City, Key Cocker, and San Pedro on a ferry faster than anyone else with Caribbean Sprinter. You better Belize it. Get with us online at sprinter.
Summer just got better with Belize Bank. Ready to take your travel dreams to new heights? Here's your chance. Apply now for an